to all. Last time I spoke about the evolution of bird ancestors during the Permian. Most groups came up in the Triassic and we only know that their ancestors lived in the Permian. So it's the case by the Avametatarsallians. We have no fossil documentation about the first representatives who survived the Permian disaster. The start into the Triassic was hard, the vegetation was marginal and needed millions of years to recover. In this post-apocalyptic scenery the new group lived within the now more and more dominant Crurotarsi. The first known group of basal Avametatarsallians was the Aphanosauria. Instead of other reptiles they had their legs not sideward but straight under the body. This allowed a more efficient way of locomotion. The arms was shorter than the legs and seemed to predict what is coming in the next evolution step. The Aphanosaurs lived in the whole Triassic Pangaea between 247 and 237 million years ago. The other group of Avametatarsallians was the Ornithodira. The word ornitho is Greek for bird, the Greek word darum means neck. The neck of this clade is S-shaped like this is the case in modern birds. This clade contains dinosaurs and pterosaurs. The first pterosauromorphs and their relatives like Scleromochlus lived in Europe. It's not correct to speak from a flying reptile, because of these animals was doubtless warm-blooded. Similar to modern bats they used a membrane to fly, but the membrane of the pterosaurs tightened on the extremely elongated fifth finger. The first Triassic pterosaurs like Priondactylus and Eudimorphodon had a long tail. Later groups had short tails and some of them grow to gigantic sizes. They was the largest flying animals ever. Like the dinosaurs they extinct 66 million years ago, but the smaller representatives of pterosaurs vanished long before. Unable to protect their territory against a new player, the upcoming birds, they lost the fight. But pterosaurs wasn't primitive. First discovered by swords, we know that they had a hairy fur. Or something like primitive feathers. If this is the case, the evolution of a very important bird characteristic take its start in the early Triassic. There is a lack of fossil records of feathers before the Jurassic. In this time the conditions allowed to preserve feathers in Germany and especially in China. For the time before we must speculate. The theory about feather evolution is that they evolved from reptile scales. First primitive feathers was simple, hair-like filaments, or tufts of filaments. A next step was the brush-like filaments, maybe the first step to the later types of pennaceous feathers. The sister taxon of the pterosauromorphs are the dinosauromorphs. And their geographic location is South America, especially Argentina. The basal group and the only one are the Lagopatidae who lived between 236 and 212 million years. All dinosauromorphs except of the Lagopatidae form the group of the Dinosauriformes. The basal representative of this group is Murraysuchus. The name means Mara crocodile and seems to be wrong. Mara is a Patagonian rodent and Murraysuchus not a crocodile, but very dinosaur-like. Murraysuchus lived about 235 million years ago in Argentina. The sister taxon of Murraysuchus, the Dracosaur, is a new formed group containing the dinosaurs and the Silsaurs. The first Silsaurs lived in Argentina, but later they came global. The Silsaurs are the group most related to the dinosaurs. They were able to walk on hind legs or on all four legs. Maybe they are older, fossil give the hint they lived since 247 million years ago, this would bring forward any Avametatarsallian. Now we reach the most popular group of prehistoric animals, the dinosaurs. There's no consensus about the early origins of dinosaurs. As child from the 70s I learned that there was two groups, the Saurischians and the Ornithischians. The main characteristic to separate both groups was the form of the pelvic. The Saurischians themselves split into the long-necked sauropods and the carnivorous theropods, the Ornithischians was herbivores. A new theory locates the theropods and with them the birds no longer in the Saurischians, but a sister taxon of the Ornithischians, together they form the taxon Ornithocoelida. A taxon formerly proposed by the famous Huxley. The clade Saurischian vanish and will be replaced by the Sauropodomorpha. More basal are only the Herrerasauridae. These carnivores lived in Argentina about 233 to 225 million years ago. The oldest group of sauropodomorphs, Panphagia, lived in Argentina contemporary to the Herrerasaurs. Instead of the later herbivore sauropods, the name reveal that this animal was omnivore. The last dinosaur who's not part of the Ornithocoelida was Eodromius. This small dinosaur lived between 231 and 229 million years ago in Argentina. Now comes the great schism of Ornithischia and Theropoda. The most basal ornithischian lived in Argentina too, his name is Pisanosaurus. If you look at his pelvis, this is not typical ornithischian. So the evolution of the ornithischian pelvis may be explained. This dinosaur lived about 228 million years ago. Because of the discovery of filaments in later ornithischians, it seems that at least all Ornithocoelida had simple feather filaments. There's no evidence that any later sauropod had feathers, but maybe they lost them in lack of need. It's not easy to say when first time feathers evolved. Are filaments a characteristic of the ornithodyrans or evolved pterosaurs and ornithocoelidans independent each from other these structures? The theropods finally should be the group that evolved the feathers to its perfection. First representant of this new group is the famous Eoraptor, who lived, who wonders, in Argentina, about 231 to 225 million years ago. All other theropods coming now are the neotheropods. It's time for the dinosaurs to leave their South American homelands and conquer the world. And what for a conquest this was, more about next time.